What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and it's my favorite company, Fansproject, coming out with another product. Now this one says causality and crossfire, and that's because the limbs are supposedly causality and Motormaster is a crossfire toy. It was a teaming up of their two divisions that they have working on it. So you saw in the box, what kind of was awkward is that Car Crash is packed in a blister bubble that holds him really secure in a plastic bag, so it didn't really look very nice through this window, as you saw in the just the title card intro screen thing. Really nice artwork as usual, just showing off the toy. Really love Fansproject stuff, can't complain. However, when you get the toy out, he feels very small and you feel like you haven't gotten your $60 worth out of this guy, because he is expensive and he's not huge. In fact, I took out my ROTF breakdown here just to kind of show you, and I mean, he's a little bit longer, but ultimately he ends up being pretty much the same exact size, it feels like, and that feels like you didn't get enough for your $60. And I think I felt like I was expecting him to be bigger, which is kind of weird, because when you compare him to the other causality toys, he's really not all that differently sized. He's, you know, almost the same amount of toy that you're getting for Warcry here. Now, unlike when this guy was packaged as Swindle and the Space Shuttle as Blastoff, you got all those limb parts, and this guy was not $60. It was the Swindle version that was. And all those extra parts really made you feel like you got your money's worth. This guy has absolutely nothing in his car except this and his gun. Or in his box, I should say. I don't know why I said in his car. Anyway, yeah, so you get the gun and you get this, and that's $60. And that does feel a little bit disappointing. But my understanding of this is that the limbs and everything are more expensive because the size and complexity and number of parts that Motormaster needs, they wanted to take his cost down, so the limbs get extra cost. Like, this should maybe be like a $40, $50 toy, and that way Motormaster doesn't need to be some ridiculously expensive toy to purchase. So if that's true, I'll be okay with this, but as it stands, the $60 for this toy does feel quite a bit steep. So, quick look at the car. Rolls pretty good, can't really complain. You can see his head when you flip underneath, but really not a whole ton of the robot is showing. You got these nice tabs on here, which are extremely tough to get things onto and off of, that hold his gun and end up basically making a little exhaust for him. As you saw, here he is next to the Revenge of the Fallen one. I really adored this toy when I first got it, and when I got this toy, I had that feeling of disappointment, like, oh wow, he's really the ROTF one. And we'll get to it when we get to bot mode, but I don't like this toy very much anymore. You can also see, it might be hard to see on camera, it's very apparent in person that he has a very slight offness. Like, it almost looks like he has been yellowed a tiny bit if you left your toy in the sun, and you get that, it's not quite that crisp white anymore. That's kind of what he's got going on. It's not as extreme as the G1 toy, but it's definitely not that bright white. In fact, speaking of the G1 toy, there you go. There's the G1 toy here. And again, once more, there he is next to Warcry, just for size comparison here. So transforming this guy, I'm going to show you both the from vehicle mode to robot mode and back. I wanted to show you him in vehicle mode first because it's always fun to show off the robot after, but the main thing is I feel it's more complex to get him from vehicle mode to robot mode than it is the other way, because of this front end here. And I've seen people say that he doesn't have any complexity compared to like these guys, and this is the simplest of transformers. You pull this up, you flip them out, and you pull the arms out. There's really nothing complex about this, whereas this guy has more complexity in his front end than the entire transformation of Warcry there. So anyway, what we're going to start by doing is kind of separating the front end here, and what you're actually doing is you're going to pull that waist joint out a little here, and that's going to free up pretty much everything for you to do here. The next thing you're going to do is split the legs here, and you can see he's got these panels that kind of open up. These are a little bit of a hassle when it comes to actually getting him into his vehicle mode again. So swing that out, and you'll see he's got this hinge joint in here where his leg is hiding away. You're just going to pull this out, and then you do have to put just a slight bit of pressure on the plastic to get it to go up so it pegs in behind the knee here. It's really not as scary as I think some people have been making it out to be. You're barely doing anything with the plastic. Yeah, it's really not all that scary. So then the next thing you want to do here is take the front of the car and unpeg this from here. Now these are really hard to get split apart here, and just unpeg this again. And what I find is I take this up, and I'm just going to move this wheel out of the way just right now to get this out of here. To actually transform this, what you want to do is push forward with the outside of the car, and it is definitely difficult to do, but you push forward here and you can see that I'm kind of separating these pieces, but I haven't actually rotated them yet. And then once you actually get these forward so it looks like that with that, you can actually then take the front end here and kind of swivel that in around that red piece there without scratching anything or hurting the corner there, and then that'll allow you to actually turn the red piece out without it actually damaging anything. And so you're just gonna put that like that, and that is exactly how this is supposed to look right here. And we'll just do the same thing for this side. We push the ends there so it collapses, and you do have to lift this. This front end can be a little bit weird just because of how the wheels are supposed to kind of tuck in there, and it can limit some of the room you have to move things around. So anyway, flip that, flip that. We've now made his 2 feet here, like so. And then we go to the top up here, and we just kind of unpeg the sides here. These are definitely some very tight pegs. Whoops, took off the top of his car here, which is just ball jointed on. Nothing major. If it pops off, it just goes right back on. That's actually the first time that that's happened to me. There we go. Might pop off again. Yeah, I don't think I got it on there very good. It's a awkward angled ball joint, so it's kind of hard to get things back on. Alright, sorry about the cut there. That actually took a lot longer to get this back on. It's kind of how that joint swivels is pretty difficult to do. So anyway, keeping going on, you pull out his arm here, like so. And then we do everything again for the other side here. Hopefully without taking that piece off so I don't have to cut for a while again. And then pull his arm out. Now, one thing to note is this back wheel, only the outer edge turns because they just wanted to give a better, more solid arm. It's okay. It doesn't bother me very much, especially when you see the arm tilt in here. So, and then you just take this down and you just kind of tuck that away, and there you go. You've got breakdown. Except we'll push that closed because it looks better that way. And he's pretty awesome. Very nice little articulated bot here. We can take his gun off here, and these are, like I said, really, really tight. I don't know if I'm going to try to trim this peg a little bit or open the hole of the gun, but I'm going to do one of the two because I feel like I'm going to snap off a piece of the gun here when I'm trying to use it to pull it off. So it definitely needs a little bit of something. These upper pads here are on that ball joint, like I said, like you saw, and you can kind of rotate them however you want. If you want them covering the car more, I don't really care. I just kind of leave them back over top here. Now, like our Fansproject code, you know, you would think that he's kind of limited in his arm articulation for upward, but he's really not because of this awesome joint that they put in here. So he does have great articulation there. He's got that nice swivel, actual ball jointed wrist here. Very nice, just a lot of nice ball joints. Extremely expressive head just because of the little ball joint that's on it. You can give that ultimate looking down and looking up at the camera thing, which is pretty epic. Pretty funny video I saw about that. I'll put that in the description below if you're interested in seeing it. It's just a stupid little video that's kind of funny. Good waist articulation. Again, ball joint here, swivel up here, your knee here, and ankle tilts, because Fansproject knows what they're doing and realized that with code that the ankle tilts and this shoulder thing were kind of an issue for some people, I think. So hopefully they put a similar type mechanism in their later releases. They're coming out, the Weird Wolf and stuff. So you can take this gun here and just kind of plug everything in to make an awesome looking rifle. Actually, I like it this way, just because I like the little grippy type thing at the bottom, and it's pretty nice. Yeah, he is a great figure, and I would say for like $40, he's awesome figure. 60, not really worth the $60, but like I said, I hope that Motormaster really is going to eat up that, you know, $15 to $20 it cost per limb to really make him something special. So here he is next to Warcry, which is why, you know, ultimately I was like, you know, I don't know why I was expecting him to be bigger, because he's a lot taller than Warcry, and this pretty much feels like the same amount of robot was gotten for the money. Here he is next to the G1 breakdown. A little stiff guy here, but a classic nonetheless. And then the biggest surprise, because like I said, getting him out of the box, I was a little disappointed with him. Here is the Revenge of the Fallen breakdown, who just is not very pretty anymore. He's got these really awkward proportioned legs and these super ape arms. And oh man, I was so excited for this toy when I got him, and I really ultimately ended up liking him. And yeah, my opinion has drastically changed. In terms of aesthetics of a bot, this guy is phenomenal. It would have been nice to see him deluxe size, but I could only imagine how much Motormaster would cost if he was like a large Voyager. I mean large Voyager for that trailer, and these guys were all deluxe size. It also puts them out of combiner scale with like the Make Toys Giant and the upgrade limbs that they did for Superion and Bruticus. So let's get this guy transformed back to his vehicle mode. We'll take these guns and we'll take them off here and put them back on. And they can only fit on one of these pegs because they are sized, the pegs are sized differently. So they only go on pretty much one way. So we'll put that back on. And then we'll start with, well, I'll start with his upper body because I always do that last anyway. So what you want to do, and I find that this joint is handy to take out of the way like this, and then take this and slide it on up, and it's gonna feel like it's gone all the way up, but push it a little more and it'll give like a slight little click that you'll feel in your hand. You won't really hear it, and that's gonna help everything line up better. Now I still get that little gap here like so, but it's not too bad. But by moving this out of the way, you're not pushing on the ball joint or anything. You can actually push on the upper arm a little bit easier, and that'll just, in my opinion, makes it easier to get everything all situated. So after you have that, you can flip up the back of the car here. Now I've tried to actually make it so we don't have visible head syndrome here, and you actually can't get this back piece over his head if you leave that like that, or if you flip his head the other way, I should say. So once we have that, it's a matter of plugging in these tabs here on both the front and the back, like so. And these are, like I said, a little bit tight, so it can be difficult to get in, but not too bad. It should leave a pretty clean rear end there. Next, we're going to come to here, and we'll work on the toes. I feel that they're easiest. Rotate your little red piece and open up this little flap here before you do this, and kind of stick your finger in there and push out the wheel so it is back to its normal location. And then you can kind of rotate this front piece around with respect to the wheel without it scraping. And pretty much when you plug in the red piece here and then you just kind of move the other thing in, that'll move everything back how it's supposed to be. So we'll do that one more time over here. We'll rotate the red piece down, kind of open this up, get the wheel out of the way, and then mess with the remainder of the car to get it on around past the wheel. Plug it in, adjust that, and there we go, we're good. So now we'll just open these flaps again, apply a tiny bit of pressure here to unseat that peg. Just get that so it's ready to constrict in. Do the same for the other side here, like so. And now when you have this leg actually going on in like that, drop the panel down as much as you can, and as you push them together they should close the rest of the way here. And then it's just a matter of kind of clipping the front end of the car together in all places. It should clip in at the back, and just kind of push that together, and there you go, you've got him back in his vehicle mode. So yeah, he's a pretty awesome transformation. I really like him. I don't know if I can necessarily say for the first time ever that I can recommend this Fansproject figure. I think he's a great figure, he's a great toy, he looks great. Everything about him is awesome, but the $60 price tag is a bit steep. So if you're not planning to go all in, and we've already seen the pictures of the Menasaur / Intimidator, I think they're calling him, we've seen him in his combined mode. So if that's not doing it for you, I don't really think paying $60 for one of the limbs is going to be worth it. But if you are all in, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this guy, aside from just feeling he's not quite worth $60. So like I said, Fansproject, I don't think they're going to disappoint. So when we get Menasaur, I think that extra cost is going to, or Motormaster I should say, I think that extra cost is really going to make him something special. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.